Hello, everybody. I can't hear the music. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ring Post Radio. I still can't hear the theme music, so I don't know when to come in. This is a technical wonder. This show. I'll tell you this much. I don't even know how we're gonna do the intros now if I can't even hear the music. I can't time us in or anything.
I don't know. I think that was pretty well timed.
Was it? I don't know.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I looked up and like the reminder that you can't hear it kicked in, and I was like, I wonder how long we're just gonna sit here.
I'm trying. I was gonna contact StreamYard, and then we're using your StreamYard account, so then I had to email via your email, and I was like, I'm not gonna bother Scotty in that sense, so I don't know what I'm gonna do.
If it matters, I can hear it.
You might have to like press all the buttons then.
I might have to open the show moving forward.
Yeah, that might have to be what it is.
Or at least press the buttons, and once I show us, you'll know to speak.
If you shoot me that finger point,
yeah, get up.
3, 2, 1, finger point.
Oh, pow!
Yeah, that would be
a little bit.
Yeah, I may have to like unplug a bunch of stuff and then replug them in. That might be, maybe it's a mixer.
It might be your secret.
I don't think it's a mixer thing because we definitely hear videos. I don't know. Well, let's start with the show. Welcome everybody to Ring Post Radio, the only podcast where
why take less when you can get a beefy 5-layer burrito?
I think that was my best one yet. I'm your host, Ryan Knightseat. With me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing on this fine Sunday morning?
I'm tired. There's too much wrestling going on. I'm done.
Is it too early to put up with my BS?
No, I do it weekly, to be fair. Done it every Sunday for like 2 years now, so no. Has nothing to do with you. I'm just like I think I'm maxed out on tournament wrestling, and for me, on certain things, it's only been 2 days. But the G1's been so long, it feels like. I don't know if anyone else feels that. I feel like I've been watching the G1 for like 2 years now. It just keeps going and going and going. And I'm like, once this is over, I'm good. Like, once this is over, everything's fine. But it's not over. It has another week left with like 4 or 5 shows. I'm going to freak out. But otherwise, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. My cat's woke me up at 6 a.m. today for no goddamn reason, but that's fine. Do you have pets, Scotty? I don't think we've discussed this. Do you have?
I do. I have 2 dogs.
We have discussed this because your dogs constantly interrupt the podcast. What am I saying?
Yes, they do.
What is the sleeping situation with the dogs?
They sleep.
They don't sleep in your bed or sleep in
my dog sleeps next to my bed. My dog sleeps next to my bed. And the other one usually does too, so it's fine.
My cats sleep in our bed, and I think if any cat owner, maybe even any general pet owner, has this sort of experience where the pets like kind of move where they want to sleep, generally speaking. And so right now my cat is sleeping right here directly next to my head and constantly throughout the night sort of pushing me off the bed, and the other cat wants to sleep on top of my chest to wake me up, of course. So yeah, I love it. I'm not
terrible. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's not great. I don't enjoy it greatly, but it's fine. It's fine. I love my animals.
I feel like that would be enough for me to be like, yeah, no thanks. We're good. Get out of here. Like, I'd kick out. That's a lot, like,
yeah.
As someone who sleeps like crap to begin with, that feels like that would not be helping the cause.
No. It is certainly not. It's certainly not. It's just, when they wake you up 2 hours before you would like to wake up, it's, it's the love. It's the love of the game. It's the love of the game. Let us get into the show. I think that's enough preamble to talk about. We got not a lot to talk about. we don't have like a whole lot of things to talk about. It's more of like a lot of updates on things. G1, Stardom, Noah, all running tournaments. New Japan, I should say, all running tournaments right now. All Japan's got a big show this Saturday. And there's a little bit of news as well. So we'll get to the news first. The sort of big news that came out of this week is that the Lucha Brothers, after spending 5 years in AEW, are calling it quits, let's say. And they seems to be having plans. The internal belief is that the Lucha Brothers are heading out of AEW and heading to WWE. You know, Mexico won't be able to match the money. So unless they really want to stay in Mexico for any reason, even though Phoenix hasn't been working in Mexico and I think doesn't live in Mexico anymore. And Pentagon's like kind of left AAA and everything as well. You know, it doesn't seem like they're staying in Mexico. AEW, you know, they spent 5 years, so I think a good amount of time, and they've accomplished pretty much everything they probably can do in AEW. And the plan seems to be that, or the belief seems to be that they are heading to WWE. What's your thoughts on the Lucha Brothers leaving? I know you and I have had conversations regarding the AEW tag team division a couple weeks ago, and I don't necessarily think this helps that conversation for sure.
The timing of this plus the Young Bucks versus the Acclaimed on AEW Dynamite is a hell of a combo. Because this tag division stinks now, currently, when they're there. It's not good. It's not good. The best tag division in the world no longer belongs to AEW. I don't know who it belongs to, but it ain't AEW. And, you know, I feel like there's been a lot of the past couple weeks. It's like, with this tag division specifically, the report of like the Young Bucks being part-time wrestlers, so that's why they're just not here now. It's like, oh, sick. Yep. No. And I don't want to be that guy, but I was like, you can't make one date per week. Like,
not in the, because that's the contract they agreed to. That's, you know, if they make a date, they get paid, and they don't want to be paid right now.
To me, like, absurd to me that the Young Bucks can't make, in the build up to the biggest show of the year, they can't make some dates. They can't make some dynamites moving into it.
I think the funniest thing to me is that, like, I feel like every wrestling fan hates part-time contracts. Like, whenever, like,
oh yeah, that was a big WWE thing when
like Brock Lesnar, I guess Roman now to a certain extent. Well, I don't know. I think Roman's sort of shielded by it for pun not intended.
Roman wrestles less than anyone I've ever seen. But
I think he wrestles less.
He's the most over wrestler in the universe.
Who wrestled more, Roman Reigns in 2023 or Brock Lesnar in 2019?
Great question. One that I can look up. I'm going to guess Roman Reigns.
I also think it's so. Who are you looking up? You're looking up Roman.
I got 23 Roman, and then
I'm looking up Brock Lesnar now. Here we go. 2019.
Brock was
8 matches.
Roman got 11.
Oh,
it was close. It was close. It was close.
Very close. How many of those 11 are live events?
That's a great question.
All 8 of Brock's matches are pay-per-views, I think. No, there's the one Kofi Kingston SmackDown win, but every single one is a pay-per-view except for one.
Roman had 4 live events.
So 11 down to, what is that? 11 minus 4. Easy math, Ryan.
7.
Okay.
So Brock actually had more
televised
matches
than Roman Reigns last year.
That's awesome. So we get back to the Lucha Bros because we got off on a little tangent here.
But
well,
the Young Bucks are on part-time. The Acclaimed, I think, are word?
I wish they were part-time.
I wish they are the ones leaving. The Lucha Brothers are leaving.
No. Hold. I like it. I like Bowens. Continue.
Oh, that's fair. I do like Bowens.
The other two?
Billy Gunn, yeah. The Lucha Brothers are coming out the door at some point. We don't know. We don't know exactly when their contract's over. FTR, I think, are solid, but they're not like. I think after the whole Punk stuff, I think a lot of people got soured in terms of fan popularity, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people soured on Dax specifically, and then Cash had the whole gun thing. So
yeah. The whole gun thing.
He's all fine.
Cash.
And who else? What else is the tag team division? Hold on. Okay.
It's bad.
We named 4 teams.
It's really bad.
We can't do this again, but
no, we can't do it again. But to the idea that they're now losing the Lucha Brothers, it's like, what is your fix for this now? Because at this point, I don't think it's a matter of just like going on and trying to sign random tag teams, because I don't know if there's just like random tag teams to sign. Also, you don't need to sign more people. You just don't, unless you're signing like the Motor City Machine Guns, which, spoiler alert, doesn't sound like to be the case. You can make tag teams. You have a roster filled with talent. Like, honestly, I know like the conglomeration is great and all. I'm just getting Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly back together finally. Like, they've been teasing it for how long? Just do it. That's a great tag team. We know this. I've seen them wrestle together. I don't think either of them are necessarily needed to be singles wrestlers right now. But yeah, you just gotta make tag teams. Roosh and the Beast Mortos. I mean, come on, man.
It's right there.
It's right there in your face. What are you waiting for?
We have the Outrunners. They're a tag team.
No.
The Von Erichs to a certain extent, but they're on Ring of Honor and a trio.
Yeah, sure. My point is, like, this tag division needs to be revamped, and it needs to be soon. Like, this week with the Lucha Bros stuff is the most I've ever seen AEW diehards and AEW stands and AEW defenders absolutely lose it on AEW. Like, this was the limit. I was like, really? Like, this is what finally got you to the limit of we need to fix this?
Yeah.
Not the past like year of questionable decision making, not the MJF title run that nearly nuked our interests. Not the, like, I feel like there's been more than just the Lucha Bros leaving.
Yeah.
But I think the back breaks for everyone eventually. And a lot of people love the Lucha Bros, myself included. So maybe that's just why.
I do think there is a win-win element here. I think this is probably like ultimately good for the Lucha Brothers. I mean, like I said, they've done everything in AEW. Unless we're doing singles runs, I don't necessarily see, or more tag team runs, which I don't think is necessarily a bad idea. Where else they can go in this company. So it makes sense for them to want to head out to WWE. WWE are going to get an all-time great tag team, I think will be super over with like Pentagon especially. AEW,
oh man, Penta's gonna be so over.
It's gonna be insanely over.
He's gonna just do this the whole time. Hit like 3 moves, win a match. It's gonna be awesome.
I literally cannot wait for it. And then AEW, it opens a big hole in the tag team division, but it's a tag team division that's like as we literally said like a couple weeks ago, it's a tag team division that already needs to be revamped. This hurts it more, but how much lower can we go? Like at this point, it's like, all right, we're already in the need to fix. It's already broken. You can't fix what's already broken. You're losing Lucha Brothers hurts it more, but it's already broken. So you're already still going to have to replace it and find new teams or create new teams. Like you said, you just named Roosh and Beast Mortos feels like a natural fit. You said, what was the other team that you said? I don't remember. Butcher the Blade.
I said Roddy and Kyle O'Reilly. Butcher and Blade are still technically around. I guess that's to be fair. Outrunners are there, but there's no one that's like real big. See, you just named 2 teams that have been presented as jobber tag teams.
Oh no, I understand. You need now. What I'm saying is, you need to now elevate those jobber tag teams as low tier tag teams into at least mid card, into being like reasonable threats, because you now have a hole in the upper card of the tag team division. Or a band-aid fix very easily is to sign specifically tag teams into your company. I think the very obvious one that was teased as an idea and floated around recently was the Grizzled Young Veterans. They're showing up in like a New Japan show in the DC New Japan show.
Didn't they show up in AEW?
They did show up in AEW that one time against and wrestled FTR, I want to say. So that's a tag team that can easily be signed. Well, I don't know about easily be signed, but should be signed and should be, brought in. There's a solid number of
They lost to the Acclaimed.
That's the dream right there. There are indie tag teams that if you're going to bump up like Butcher and the Blade or bump up any of these sort of undercard tag teams, you can bring in indie tag teams to sort of be your new undercard. I don't know, some off the bat I can think of. West Coast Wrecking Crew is somebody that you can bring in. I think they're probably more mid card, to be fair, but you can bring in them. You can bring in Violence is Forever. I think that could be a serviceable tag team as well. Like, there are people out there. It's just AEW is not currently doing anything about it. And it's frustrating. And I think, like you said, in a very Bane style, everybody's back gets broken or whatever you said. This seems to have broken a lot of people. What do you think about the Lucha Brothers leaving? They were 5 years in this company. What do you think about the Lucha Brothers leaving affected so many AEW hardcore fans? Like, what is it specifically about the Lucha Brothers that people saw was like synonymous with AEW that people are seeing this as a massive loss?
I think it's because they feel like AEW originals, and obviously they were there since the start. And I know a lot of people say like they were, they accomplished everything they could. I don't think they did. Like, I always thought Penta and Phoenix could have been utilized so much more to be so much more than just a tag team.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I understand that like they had their injuries, they had their ups and downs along the way,
especially Phoenix.
But like, we know what Penta is or can be. We've seen it at a high level, and I understand he has been a guy that he doesn't always go all out in his matches, but I don't think after
the West Coast Wrecking Crew.
After the first couple of like years there, I think he realized his place. Like, he wasn't going to get elevated to a main event role. I'll never forget when they started to push him against Cody, and then it was just for one match, right? As a single star, he did the arm breaking thing, and then he just lost, and that was it. And that's kind of how they used Penta as a single star his entire run. And I think it's also the fact that their tag title run wasn't good. Like, it was very
short. If I recall, it was like fairly short.
It didn't feel long. They did the FTR stuff that didn't work, and then I feel like they just dropped the belts, like, kind of out of nowhere.
The Jungle Boy.
Yeah, the Jungle Boy and the dinosaur. I think like that's part of it as well. I feel like they deserved one great run, and you're just losing two great wrestlers. Like, we've seen the debates about Penta for the over earlier this year, but in the end, like, there's still a great appreciation for Penta and what he brought to the table. And I think that's a big reason why. And obviously Phoenix is excellent. Phoenix is in the conversation as the best luchador in the world for all of the right reasons. So losing him is just brutal. And, they have to replace a lot, because you're not only replacing a great tag team, like top 3 tag team in the company, you now have to replace 2 guys that you could slot into pretty much any role.
Yeah.
Right. Which that's a lot. You're in a way you're losing 2 main eventers, even if they weren't presented as that, because of how much they did for your company.
Yeah, I think I do agree to some extent. I think when I say that they seemingly hit their ceiling, I think they hit their ceiling as a tag team.
Yeah,
Uh, and I think I think as singles guys, they didn't really do that. I think to maybe this isn't a reason for any of this sort of stuff, but maybe that is the whole idea of and the constant thing of when you run out of ideas as a tag team, why you always get the breaking up of a tag team. We never really saw them work as singles. You could have broken them up as a tag team. You could have had them work as singles and see where that goes for
they
these
did have
guys.
some good singles in this company together.
I agree. I both are really great singles or can be really great singles wrestlers, especially motivated. I think that there's movement on that end. I think WWE is going to bring them as a tag team, and then as soon as they can, they're going to break them up and have Phoenix be a big babyface star and Pentagon be like a heel because he looks like a skeleton. It's gonna be tough because he's gonna be super over, but I think that's gonna be something that they do. I'm looking at their tag team run, by the way, in AEW. Very similar division. Their title defenses, they win the titles in Young Bucks and that match of the year at All Out, the steel cage match. Defend it against Butcher the Blade, the Acclaimed, FTR twice, and then lose it to Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Very similar division, gotta say, from 2021, 3 years ago.
And that's the problem with the tag division. It's
and
the
that was
same.
122 days. And if you don't remember, in 2023, they were, for 112 days, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. If you don't remember that.
Easy to forget that, to be fair. There was the report they were supposed to face the Briscoes once upon a time, which pains me to think about, but that's another conversation for another day. This ultimately is going to go down as a tough loss. I don't think it's like out of the two rumored losses, and this seems more fact than rumor at this point. I don't know if this will. I think these two are going to hurt AEW way more leaving than Mr. Starks. But I think I think Mr. Starks is going to become a very big star in the other company.
Yeah. So the other rumor, basically, as basically a throwaway line in the Observer from Dave.
He does that sometimes. It's really
he
funny.
does that sometimes. The internal belief in wrestling is that Ricky Starks is heading out to WWE. Now, I also listened
People
to...
have thought this for 2 years, by the way.
People thought this for 2 years. I know that I listened to Voice of Wrestling, Joe Lanza talk about it, and he basically is in constant contact with Ricky Starks because they're Texas guys. So I know that is a thing. And he basically alluded to the idea of like his contract doesn't seem like, based on what he thinks, up anytime soon per se. And also that it's not a 100% he's gone. There is a scenario, as he put it, that he will stay in AEW and resign, but it also seems more likely that it would be WWE. So there's a scenario, as Joe Lanza put it in Voice of Wrestling, that he stays in AEW. Didn't say what that scenario could be, but I also don't even know what that scenario could be, because like you think of like the story of Ricky Starks, and he's a guy that like has always been either pushed or protected extremely well, and was in really top feuds with like a lot of different people.
He's been in a lot of start and stop pushes, though.
Yeah, that's also true.
Like, I feel like anytime he gets momentum, it just stops.
For various reasons. Like his neck was one of the reasons as well. For whatever reason, he was always a start and stop, but like he was always still pushed and or protected. Now, what's going to keep him to stay? Like, is it a world title run? Maybe, I don't know. Is it like what? I don't know. It's one of those things also of like, what more can he do in the company? Like, I think there's definitely more he can do in the company, but is that something that aligns with AEW's interests? I guess that's the question. And right now, it doesn't seem like that's the case. And it seems like Ricky Starks could also be on his way out. It's just a matter of we have no idea when.
I mean, this is a guy that made a lot of sense. For a company that has 1 million mid-card belts, he's never held one.
He held the FTW title.
Real belts. Real belts that don't be created stories to be defended on All In, of all places. He just never has had one. He has a world, his AEW, like his only championship reign that says AEW something championship is a tag championship in an impromptu tag team with Big Bill.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I don't like
always
his
the bridesmaid, never the bride.
how he went from that Bryan Danielson match to a tag team. I will never understand. I just won't. Like that Bryan Danielson match was tremendous, and that's also coming off the heels.
Transitional tag team champion.
Transitional tag team champions that also came off the heels of the Punk stuff and how that was supposed to be Ricky's big match. It was a lot that hurt him. Like, I wouldn't blame him for leaving just because, one, you probably want something new. Two, Cody's his guy, or he's a Cody guy, whichever you prefer. That usually works pretty well in WWE these days. Seeing he's far more talented than the reigning NXT champion. I would get him leaving. And listen, I don't know if he's going to leave. I think there's always a possibility one person stays, blah, 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 blah. If there's a guy that wants to look around and like blame former WWE talent coming in and taking his spot, he might be the guy that would do that. So, it's tough that we have gotten to the point where we are talking about, he's not a original, right? He came in 2020, but he's damn close to being one. And that's three guys that offer a lot to the promotion overall.
I think also for Ricky Starks, there's two things that I worry about with him. Number one is like, where does he go in WWE? Like, it's cool and all, but like, does he go in NXT? He's leaving AEW to go to NXT. Is that really the big spot? I mean, maybe like the Ethan Page spot, but isn't that what Ethan Page is doing right now?
Right.
So I don't really know if that's the idea, or is it to the main roster where, I don't necessarily see him as a world champion. I think in that company, he would probably be seen as too small. I think that's fair.
I don't think that's a thing anymore.
I don't necessarily know if that's a thing anymore, but I don't necessarily think it's not a thing. Like LA Knight is a guy. I just looked up his dimension.
He's 6 feet tall.
Yeah, but LA Knight is a guy, to my extent, to what I was saying, who is like 30 to 40 more pounds than Ricky Starks. Like Ricky Starks is 194 pounds. He's still seen as, I have to imagine that company as pretty small. But he can obviously build up in all this time. I'm just saying that I don't know how much that company has really changed in terms of those visuals. The other thing is, and to that end, I don't necessarily see if they see him as a world champion. So going to WWE can definitely raise his star power, but I'm not sure necessarily. And let alone the fact that the roster, as Connor Houston puts in the chat, more talent in WWE as they don't have a bloated roster already. The roster is ginormous. So like, I don't necessarily see like, even then, where can Ricky go? The other thing is that I think after MJF re-signed, everyone just sort of, especially all the WWE fans, just move the spotlight over to Ricky Starks. And I feel like that everyone kind of gave up on this idea that MJF would be a bona fide WWE star and he should go into that company and this would be perfect for him. And it has now transferred over to Ricky Starks, and everyone now saying that. And I don't necessarily think it's the wrong idea. I think MJF fits WWE's mold way better than Ricky Starks. But I think the idea is now the spotlight has been on Ricky Starks in a way that he might like. That I think everyone's just sort of pummeling all their desires into Ricky now instead of MJF. And I think that, might be motivating in some capacity, or at least very least peer pressuring in some capacity.
It almost feels like a company can't handle having both Ricky Starks and MJF. It's kind of been the way it's been. And I don't know, for my money, I think I often enjoy Ricky Starks way more than I enjoy MJF.
Agreed.
So to me, it's like another case of I think that WWE would benefit from Ricky Starks, and the reason I have belief in them pushing Ricky Starks is they have been on this kick of, oh, if you come over from AEW, we will make you a star, because that makes more people interested in time. You know, it doesn't all happen in a day. And yes, he is on the smaller side, but who in their right mind thought LA Knight would get as over as he did? Ricky Starks is a younger, more frankly, more talented version of that
Agreed.
build of a wrestler. He's only 34 years old. Like, this is a young guy who I do think brings a lot to the table and has been underutilized for a lot of his time there. I mean, I think Team Taz should have been a lot more than they were.
I
I
agree.
think that, you know, the Punk stuff, there's a reason for that. Ricky would have both CM Punk and Cody Rhodes backing him there. It's a lot of power. Like, I think Roman Reigns might be the only person with more power than that. And sorry, Ricky, you were, I don't, from my knowledge, you are not Samoan. If you were, you'd already
He
be
could be
there.
Tongan. We don't know. He could be Tongan.
Yeah. If you were, you'd already be there.
If he's Polynesian in any way.
But like, I think in the case of, you know, we look at all these things and we talk about who could jump ship. I think, like, I look at Ricky Starks out of all the people in AEW. He's one that I think would be on the side of succeeding more than a lot of them. We'll see. Again, this is rumor. You know,
this is full on rumor.
with the other two, it's like, all right, they're gone. And with the other two, it seems like it's kind of Penta being the one that's ready to leave, and Phoenix is like, well, he's my brother.
Older brother.
Yeah, it's like, he's my brother. I'm going. So it'll be interesting, but I like. Here's the last thing I'll say. AEW is hurt a lot more by the Lucha Bros leaving than Ricky, but I think Ricky can hurt them more in the long term because of, I think, him getting over in AEW, or not AEW, WWE, because he just is on and off AEW television so much at this stage. It's like, what's it gonna do? But it stinks. It stinks. And last thing with the Lucha Bros, you also lose more value in the trios division as well. Like, that was part of the report. They were gonna win the trios belts back. And I was like, man, we might have made that division great again. Like, that might have been. And like, what does Pac do now? I don't know.
He has a title shot.
He does. We bring it up all the time.
He has a title shot, apparently.
I think everyone has forgotten, including himself.
I think they brought it up on commentary on Dynamite this week. I think Excalibur is like, he's next in line. I was like, wasn't he first in line? What happened to that?
Yeah, wasn't he first in line? And then they're like, Ospreay gets his rematch. It's like, did the MJ Ospreay match happen before or after?
After.
That's funny. Okay. So okay.
I'm pretty confident it was after.
It's gonna be really weird when they do that match of like All Out, like Ospreay versus Pac, and it's like this super British match. It's gonna happen in Chicago.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the whole thing's weird. I think the perception. I mean, it's AEW, so it's like everything. The perception of all this stuff hurts AEW more than anything else. Ricky Starks, if he goes to WWE, I think he will boost his stardom and all that stuff. I just also think he will have a ceiling compared to everybody else that's kind of already there. And I think he'll end up having a similar situation that he has in AEW. Lucha Brothers, I think they will honestly be great in WWE. I think that they'll do great in the tag team division. And then when they split them up, there'll be two great singles guys that can go immediately. And then it's just a question of like their careers following that. It's just also a matter of how they're booked, because to be clear, Triple H likes to, for whatever reason, likes to put a lot of the same ethnicities together, grouped together, booking wise. We got all your, you got all your Islanders over here. You got all your Hispanic people over here. Let's just put all the black people together as well. The Pride or whatever that was called. Let's just put everyone together. And he does a lot of that stuff. So I don't necessarily see Penta and Phoenix as LWO members, but you never know with this company.
That's true.
That's true. Anyways, the only other thing I wanted to bring up, this isn't really a big talking point, I think, between us, but I think it's just something to put a pin in after having these discussions. Former TNA executive Scott D'Amore announced his revival of Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, which is basically a Canadian territory indie from back in the day, that he is reviving on October. Two events, October 19th and October 20th, 2 pay-per-views set to air in Triller. They have already announced people to advertise to appear, like Raj Desi, the former WWE Jinder Mahal, Josh Alexander, Giselle Shaw, Kushida, Alex Zane, Kevin Knight, Jake Something, Kylie Ray, and Trevor Lee are all currently advertised to appear. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It's just sort of like the follow-up of Scott D'Amore leaving TNA. He's not bounced up anywhere else. Instead, he's starting up his own Canadian company, restarting a Canadian company, I guess you should say, and pretty much getting a lot of TNA talent that he has immediately coming into the company to work in Canada for him. So any thoughts on this sort of thing, and this sort of new indie for Scott D'Amore, and all these sort of TNA people coming in? What are any thoughts on that?
Do you think it's going to stop people from bringing up Scott D'Amore all the time in every conversation of like Ring of Honor or something like that?
No, I think most people don't even know this is happening.
Yeah, probably
and that's
not.
Why I'm bringing it up, because I'm bringing it up to the point of let's stop talking about Scott D'Amore now.
Yeah, no, valid. I would. I feel the same way.
Yeah. But yeah, so more Canadian wrestling. I think this is probably good for Canadian wrestling. I think this is I think it's fair to consider that this will probably be the biggest Canadian promotion now. When October turns around, I have to imagine that he has probably more money backing than most Canadian indies. So interested to see how it comes up. I think moving forward, I don't necessarily know how big it can get, but we'll see. I think we'll certainly see.
You don't think Maple Leaf Wrestling is going to get a TV deal?
Canadian TV deal, maybe. Yeah. I don't necessarily know if he'll get an American TV deal. I mean, it's certainly plausible, but it's way too early to tell. I mean, the fact that they're already going the Triller means that they don't have one. So we'll see. But hey, look, if the NWA has some sort of TV deal, then I think maybe Maple Leaf Wrestling could have some sort of TV.
Maple Leaf Wrestling,
Maple Leaf Pro, MLP. Get your MLW haters out of here. It's all MLP moving forward. All right, Maple Leaf Ryan. All right, let's talk about the G1 Climax. So G1 Climax night 14, I want to say was yesterday. Yes, night 14 was yesterday.
Was there no show today?
No show today. Next show is tomorrow. We have shows on the 12th, which is tomorrow, Wednesday the 14th, Thursday the 15th, Saturday the 17th, and then the finals happening literally next week. So we are in the last sort of grouping stage here. So much so that I believe night 15 and night 16 are basically going to be your block finals, I believe. And then the semifinals of those blocks will be on the 15th and the 17th. And then it's the finals, if I remember my scheduling correctly. So we're at the sort of outcome scenarios, the advancement scenarios for these last 2 nights. And they're extremely wonky, I'll say, Scotty. They are extremely wonky. I will send you a link to sort of show you what they look like. Sent in the private chat. Show you sort of what the outcome scenarios look like. A block is super easy. Pretty much Zack Sabre Jr. is officially in. No matter what, even if he loses to Sonata, him losing to Sonata only sort of determines whether or not other people place differently. Basically, it's looking like it's going to be Sabre, Evil, and then some sort, maybe Evil, maybe either Naito or Great-O-Khan, potentially. There are some situations where Shingo Takagi can get in. But I think that is it. I think it's mostly pretty much those four. And then I think it's four scenarios or 5 scenarios that Shingo Takagi can get in, but otherwise he's probably not getting in.
Naito can get in, right?
Naito has plenty of ways to get in. His big thing is that he has to beat Great-O-Khan. If Great-O-Khan beats Naito, then Great-O-Khan is probably going in.
And that's the main event of the next night. So,
So it comes down to Great-O-Khan versus Tetsuya Naito in a lot of ways for those guys. Sabre, like I said, is no matter what in. For Evil, Evil is also pretty much in. I think the only way he doesn't get in is if he loses to Shota Umino. If he loses to Shota Umino and Shingo Takagi defeats Jake Lee and Zack Sabre Jr. defeats Sonata, those are sort of the ways that. If Shingo defeats Jake Lee and Evil loses to Shota Umino, those are the only ways for Evil to not make it into the block. So, is that plausible? Do you think Shota Umino is defeating Evil? Do you think Shingo Takagi is defeating the smart bastard Jake Lee?
The smart bastard Jake Lee. Well, there's gonna be upsets, right? Obviously. So, like, what do you think's more likely? Because I don't think both Jake Lee and Shota Umino win.
Yeah, I think Jake Lee is more likely to have that upset. I think that is certainly plausible. I think it also Shota Umino. I mean, I don't know. I think Shota Umino desperately needs this win. You know what I mean?
Something, man.
This guy, I think, has performed the worst in the G1 so far.
Well, hold on. Jake Lee has been horrible.
But Jake Lee has met my expectations.
Jake Lee has more sub 2-star ratings from me than any wrestler all this year, and he's just done it with tournament matches.
But you weren't expecting to hit 4 stars. You know,
I expected 3. And he has not. He has 1, I think.
He in the later half. I think it was like the last 2 matches. They were pretty decently good.
Terrible.
Yeah.
As Dave Meltzer said, Evil's bad sometimes because of the gimmick. Jake Lee's just bad.
So these matches, like you said, are Zack Sabre Jr. versus Sonata, Shingo Takagi versus Lee, Evil versus Shota Umino, Great-O-Khan versus Naito. And then the other ones don't matter whatsoever. I think the other ones are Callum Newman versus somebody. Who is it?
What a freaking turnaround where we're talking about Great-O-Khan getting in here.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? What do you think about Great-O-Khan's situation? He, like I said, pretty much has to beat Naito. That's gonna be the biggest thing for him. No matter what, he has to beat Naito. Do you think it's possible for Great-O-Khan to beat Naito?
I think the most likely scenario right now is Sabre, Evil, and Naito getting through. I think that's probably the one I'm siding with. I think the idea of Great-O-Khan getting in is a fun little thing to do because Shota Umino is a little geek and he couldn't get that shot. Which, you know, that listen, I'm not the one that booked him. I'm not saying like this isn't me saying this is how they booked him. I'm sorry. Like, though it's interesting, like if Sonata does win, that does create like a little bit of interest in some ways, but I don't think it matters at
Sonata
all.
Zack
Like,
Sabre Jr. the second match, also by the way.
right. So it's like my preference, I think, is Zach, Shingo, and Evil is my preference because I don't think one, Naito needs to go through, and two, I think it's just more of an interesting setup, right? Having Shingo and Evil again, and you know, working your way towards Zack and Shingo again, and so on and so forth. I don't know though. This is the worst. We talked about this at the beginning of the tournament. This block looks so much better on paper. Oh my god. It's not even close. And it hasn't been for most of the tournament. I think I had more hope in Jake Lee at the beginning. Not a lot, but more hope. I definitely had some more hope in Shota Umino. I had no hope in Great Khan. I think he's been entertaining at least.
I think he's been better than my expectations.
Yeah.
Should we do that? Should we run through and give our quick thoughts about
we'll do
better or worse than
do
expectations?
this first block, and then we'll do after we do scenarios on the other one.
Okay, so better. This is just say better or worse than those.
Okay.
That is better or worse than the expectations of you had for them going in.
Gotcha.
Callum Newman.
Worse.
I think he's been fine. I think he's better than expectations.
I've ended up skipping his last few matches because I didn't think they were good.
Gabe Kidd.
Better.
I think easily better.
Yeah.
He's dropped a lot. He still
It's actually shocking to me he's not in the scenarios here.
Yeah, he's completely out. He's completely eliminated.
I know, but he shouldn't be.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I would love for him to be in it, but I think he's definitely, knowing also that he's out, has definitely impressed me a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Sonata, nothing. I'm like the same.
I guess worse. I didn't realize his injury has really hurt. Like you can tell that injury still hampers him.
Yeah,
but I'll say worse.
Fine.
So it's pretty much like a push. But I'll go worse because I do think like certain matches I expected the Shingo match is fun.
Zack Sabre Jr.
It's very much a push. Like this is exactly what I expected from Zack.
Leaning better.
Yeah, like I would give him better. I definitely wouldn't walk into this tournament and say worse for Zack. You know, like so I'll say better since the game is better or worse, not push.
Shingo.
I think worse.
Really?
I think he's had some great I think he's had some really good, great matches, but I haven't had the blow away Shingo match. I think
I think Zack was the closest.
Yeah, which like you know, duh. Like I expect like he could have been a guy that I think him and Evil could have been really good, or him and Naito was really underwhelming. So that's why I'll go worse because again, he's part of this block where I thought it was going to be the better block, and I don't think he stood out as much. I like Sonata.
Worse than your expectations than Sonata, or better than Sonata?
Oh, definitely better than Sonata.
Okay, I would agree with that. Jake Lee.
Worse. Incredible accomplishment. This man.
I don't know if it's that much for me. I think it's like I already knew. I don't know. I would say maybe better. Like there is some matches that had like that I did enjoy of his. I think there was
making me do it. You're making me do it. You're making me go through the ratings I gave him.
All right, I'll pull up my ratings and we'll see. We'll compare here.
So his less than 5 minute match with Sonata.
Oh yeah, that's unrateable basically.
I'm pretty sure it's the highest rated I've given him this tournament.
That's insane. That's insane.
Which was a 2.
Yeah. Evil match, bad.
Ooh, yeah.
Naito match, worse.
1. Gave that a 1. The Zack Sabre Jr. match is actually the highest. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that one's pretty good.
Give that 2.25. Great Khan, 1.5. Cal Newman, 1.5. Actually, I actually like.
I love the Jake Lee one. I went 3.5 on that one.
The Jake Lee one.
Sorry, all of the
Gabe
Jake
Kidd.
Lee. No,
Gabe
Gabe
Kidd.
one. Yes.
Okay, no, that was definitely the best one he had. Which a lot of it was a brawl pre-match, but I'll allow it.
The full a whole star
Yeah.
more was Jake Lee coming out with the champagne glasses.
Yeah,
Gabe
that's
Kidd
funny.
just like destroying him. I was like, that's what I want. That is the embodiment of these.
That's
people.
what Ryan would do if
That's what I
Jake
would
Lee
do.
came towards him with
Just
champagne glasses.
Get your champagne out of here.
Yeah, that was the best match he had. But yeah, absolutely underwhelming. Still
Shota Umino.
underwhelming.
I
Worse.
think he is more underwhelming than Jake Lee. I think he is worse than Jake Lee in terms of expectations.
I think you're right because I've seen Shota Umino have great matches with people that aren't named Kento Miyahara. Like that's the game, right? With Jake Lee, it's like, oh, he had this great match with and your point. What are you trying to prove here?
Yeah, Shota Umino, I think, has been extremely bad in this tournament, and I don't know. Look, man, if you wanted to be Tanahashi or if you wanted to be Naito, it's like I guess we're living through the Naito was bad and we need to send him back on excursion because
so
I'm sending Shota back on excursion.
He definitely is Naito, by the way. Like he definitely needs the whole revamp again. But I will say about Shota, he is legitimately hurt. Like I do know that he is legitimately hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to give him some of the benefit of the doubt, but it's been stinky.
I want to give him some benefit of the doubt, but based on the rumors we've all heard, I don't know if I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt based on.
No. I just mean like in terms of performance in the ring.
Yeah. I mean, if he wasn't, if the rumors would be to be believed, if he wasn't if he wasn't a person of that ilk, then he wouldn't be having a bad tournament.
I expected him to have one great match, like top of the line, great match. Nope.
Do you think he will have it against Evil?
Actually, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
That's that Evil. If he's winning that match, I actually think he could have a great match.
I think that could be a classic Evil. Speaking of Evil,
classic better, baby.
I don't think he's been bad. Like I think
I don't either.
Torture stuff has been there, but I don't necessarily think it was all the time.
I think the Naito match was hilarious because he kicks out of the Destino, right? And then he hits the Everything is Evil. And you expect like the big kick out, and it's just like, no. You don't kick, no one kicks out of Everything is Evil. That's not, these are the rules.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think he's been better. You set your expectations a little low because you don't know like how in we're gonna go with the House of Torture stuff. But like him versus Zack Sabre Jr. is one of the most perfect matches in this tournament. I'm not even kidding. Like that was perfectly done in Corkin of all places.
Mm-hmm.
Like the roar of the crowd when Zack just won at 19 seconds. I was just like, you had the guts to do that with the two top wrestlers in the block. If they face off in the semifinals, it will not be shocking because of how the finish went.
Tetsuya Naito?
Worse. Though I didn't know he was like this badly banged up. Like I knew he was banged up, but
yeah. But the thing is about Naito is that he's still a really great wrestler, right? So like him being badly banged up, I think I've generally enjoyed his stuff still more than Shota Umino.
Yeah. I think here's the thing about Naito. I think a lot of people just like instantly think his matches are like bad because he doesn't hit the Destino clean. I'm like, well, everything else was pretty good. I still think it's worse because like again when I watch Naito, I do expect greatness still. I know some people don't, but I do. I thought him and Sanada was really like a really strong match, probably the best for both of them. And I've seen it 2 times already this year before that, and I didn't walk away from that bad. But like the Jake Lee match is the one I look at. I'm like, oh
yeah, that was
really that's the worst match of the tournament for me. So it has to be worse even though I'm not blaming him for not trying to carry Mr. Jake Lee to Jake Lee is the ultimate, like, oh, the crowd's into this, let me ruin that. You know, like he'll just do like his stupid smile and put his arms out, like, ha, 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 ha. I'm like, dude, this guy stinks.
That's true.
Where's the lie?
Great O'Con for me better because he was a hand
Better.
wave before.
Yeah,
And
he's no longer a hand wave. Now he's hi.
he's like, all right, if it's a right opponent, I'll stick around.
He's had a lot of fun opening like matches.
And I do also enjoy his changing of styles
Yes.
for every match. I think that's been a good, like, not necessarily story, but
It's the shorts. It's the shorts.
It's
Let's
also
be
the
honest,
fight
it's the
shorts.
shorts.
You get me a pair of those fight shorts, and I'm down.
I think the fight shorts is a great look.
I agree. I fully agree. Well, if we want Zack Sabre Jr., Evil, and Shingo to win, then the route that we need to not only win, but get into the final three, Scotty, the route we need to take is Shingo defeats Jake Lee, Evil defeats Shota Umino, and Great O'Con defeats Naito. And those scenarios, Zack Sabre Jr., Evil, and Shingo will all be in. So that
it is a nice life to know that no matter what, Zach is in.
Yeah, no matter what, Zach is in. Now, Block B. it has 2 pages of scenarios, according to the link I sent you. But we can, in a way, sadly, cut off half of these scenarios because, as announced today, following the match of Yota Tsuji, Yuya Uemura is injured and he is officially withdrawing from competition. So Yuya Uemura,
he thought he was in the N1. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Had to make the joke. Hope he's okay. I'm really upset.
He has an injury to the right arm, and after consultation with New Japan medical staff, it has been determined that Uemura will not compete in the remainder of the tournament. Now, it's only one match, but it was a match that did create some scenario differences. His match, of course, was against, Oleg Boltin. So there are some situations there for that match. But we can basically cut off half of this. So there are a lot of different scenarios that can happen. For the most part, if I had to see some sort of common thread here, it looks like Finley is probably going in. It looks like Cobb is probably going in. And then it's just sort of a combination of Tsuji, Ren Narita, and yeah, it's pretty much that. There are very few. I want to say, let's see. I'm searching. I want to say there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways for Goto get in. 6 ways. 7, 8.
Takeshita has a good few if Tsuji wins.
Takeshita has, let's see. Takeshita
actually has a good few as long as Goto loses.
Takeshita, he has a couple. Yes. If Goto loses, and we're looking at the first half of Uemura losing, now then Takeshita has like some like tie break bullshit where everyone's tied. Scenarios if Goto wins, but if Goto loses, then Takeshita could get in. If Tsuji loses and Takeshita wins and Hanare wins, also he can get in. If Hanare wins, Tsuji wins, and then Takeshita beats Ren Narita. So really, Takeshita has to win his match against Ren Narita, and then it's going to come down to everybody else for the most part. So he is a win, and maybe you're in is Konosuke Takeshita. But to that extent, I don't think Takeshita's getting in. I don't think we're gonna get that sort of waterfall stuff.
I think Uemura getting hurt might give him a shot.
It definitely helps.
Because
there's definitely more scenarios with Uemura out now with Takeshita getting in.
Because I think Uemura had a shot here, obviously, that he no longer does. I do think Goto's probably losing.
Yeah, Goto for the most part.
Hanare.
Goto obviously has to defeat Hanare. Suji has to defeat Cobb. Actually, hold on. I think there's only one. Well, it's basically Goto has to defeat Hanare. Cobb or Suji. There are different scenarios for Cobb or Suji to win. And then there's also different scenarios for Narita. He basically has to defeat Hanare, but you don't think he's beating Hanare?
Because Gato doesn't understand great wrestling. No, I don't.
I don't think there is any scenario, just looking at it. Yes, there's no scenario of Goto getting in if he loses to Hanare. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's. I would like Goto get in. Him getting in as a third person, that would be fun. I think that'd be a fun idea.
So if we look at that, what are the scenarios of Goto getting in? It would be Finlay Cobb with Goto, Narita, and Takeshita tied. Narita, Goto, and Suji, which I don't see happening. Finley's damn near almost a lock, even with a loss.
Yeah, for the most part, there are some scenarios where Finlay doesn't get in, but for the most part, he's getting in. He's getting it.
I think the best case scenario for me is the Goto defeats Hanare. Oleg obviously defeats Uemura. Suji defeats Cobb.
Mm-hmm.
Takeshita defeats Narita, and ELP defeats Finlay. So you get Goto, Suji, and Finlay.
Goto first to the block too.
You're damn right. You're damn right. I would like Takeshita in. If had Uemura not gotten hurt, my perfect trio, because of my preference from this tournament, would have been Uemura, Goto, and Takeshita.
Mm-hmm.
I think Takeshita could get in just to give them another great match of interest to people at this stage, which I think would be smart. So I look at the route of Hanare defeating Goto, Oleg defeating Uemura, Suji defeating Cobb, Takeshita defeating Narita, and potentially Finlay defeating ELP, though I have a tough time seeing that last result. Because I feel like they want to give ELP. I feel like they want to give ELP one big win.
I think he got it with Goto.
Yeah, you're probably right, which, sucked. But you might be right. That it's really weird because Cobb and Finlay, I don't need both.
Sure.
I don't think it's as beneficial with both of them in. I do think it's beneficial if you get obviously a Suji in there with you and more out of the question. And I'm just thinking about my personal preference here. I need Goto or Takeshita in. I'm not gonna lie. I need one of them in.
Well, let's talk about also this sub idea. I mean, we talked about Block A. It's pretty much Sabres in no matter what. Evil is more than likely in. Naito or Great Okan is probably in, and maybe Shingo, but no Umino, no Kid. Obviously no Callum Newman. None of the young guys are in Block A, right? It's all this sort of the mid card tier that's getting bumped up. Sabre, Evil, I guess, to a certain extent. And then here it's like we're fighting Goto possibly getting in. Finlay is probably getting in. Cobb maybe. Suji may be the only young guy that gets in, probably, unless it's Ren Narita, but I do not want it to be Ren Narita.
With Uemura out, it sure feels like Suji's your only bet. Narita feels perfect for the upset or the loss on the final night. They kind of built him up, which, listen, you can feel however way you want about Ren Narita. It's at least good that they gave him wins because, again, you talk about building the young guys, yada yada yada. Okay, they gave him a lot of wins, and I think it's more likely than not that he loses to Takeshita because Takeshita lost to Oleg Boltin.
Yeah,
so
I agree. I don't necessarily think Takeshita loses to Narita. I think that Narita got his big win, or Takeshita got his big loss, I should say, against Oleg Boltin. I don't necessarily know if he's going to put over Ren Narita as well. I think that'd be extremely bold, especially politically speaking. Ren Narita, has Ren Narita gotten his big win? I'm trying to look back in my brain. So you had that big upset win. I don't think he has. So maybe him beating Takeshita would be that big upset win.
Yeah, but you beat him so many times now. How big of a like?
I know.
I also don't want that. So
Yeah,
have we taken that into consideration?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know. I think there's a chance that Narita beats Takeshita. I think that's now I've convinced myself. I think it actually is plausible that's going to be Narita because I don't think he had that upset win, and he almost should give him that upset win. Hanari,
I think Takeshita wins.
Hanari Goto. I think they can go either way. I would love for Goto to get the win there, but I honestly see Hanari get the win. Hanari's out. Like, there's no route for Hanari to get the win. So him getting that like final night win to like sort of like reestablish himself a little bit to me makes sense. So I think that's certainly plausible. Oleg is getting the 2 points. Jeff Cobb, Suji, that should be a fun match. And then ELP, Finley, who the heck knows? But let's look at that match order. We have here. I'm pulling it up.
I can do my better or worse.
Yes, better or worse in terms of the match order. So we have.
No, in terms of the wrestlers.
Well, we'll do. We'll guess we'll do the people that are not on it. So Oleg Boltin.
I think he's done better.
Me too. I mean, going from Young Lion, I think there was only up for him, but I think he's definitely did better.
It would have been really hard for him to be worse.
Yes, that Takeshita match. To be fair, it's Takeshita, MVP of the tournament, undoubtedly, was insane.
Oleg is next year. We're having conversations about him potentially winning.
Oh, I don't know about winning. We still have Fitsuji and Uemura and.
I'm saying we're having conversations.
Sure.
I'm not saying he's winning, but he's at least in the conversation.
He's a New Japan Cup winner.
That's fine by me.
I think maybe by next year we can have conversations about him. But I don't know if he's winning the G1 next year. I think he might be winning. He could win the New Japan Cup next year.
The dude rules. Just saying. He's the type of guy that gets a super push.
He's already had trios champions. He's currently trios champion.
He is more successful than all the Rewa guys already.
Possibly, probably.
I said so. So sorry.
Yu Uemura
obviously Suji won the New Japan Cup.
Yu Uemura obviously injured.
Oh,
but
way better than expected. What a guy! What a guy that Yu Uemura is.
He was a hand wave, a joke in this community.
Yeah, he went from a joke in this community, a hand wave, to my favorite of the crew in this tournament. He's given me so much hope for the future. I was like, oh, this is the guy that everyone was hyping up and hoping for. And
we saw it. We finally saw what people are talking about.
The heat storm is a coming. Yeah, no, I think he's definitely a favorite for next year. Could be the favorite next year heading in. Dude's awesome. Completely forgot he was been just 5 guys until they said it on commentary. Won the match, and I was like, oh, who knew?
I wonder if that helped. I wonder if him being separated from just 5 guys helps him.
It might have. He feels like the guy that should be by himself, by the way. Like Shota is. He feels like the guy that should be part of the
Hantai.
Yeah. He rules. What a tournament he had. Obviously, it's a shame it ended the way it did, but great job by him.
Hiroki Goto. Better.
Hiroki the G in G1 stands for Goto.
He said the thing.
He is the man. And man, why were we saying they should just go with Taichi when they needed help? Hiroki Goto has been a man just sitting and waiting for the opportunity to be great. And my God, this man, his match with Takeshita, that's real wrestling, man. That's real wrestling. Him and David Finlay in the main event at Korakuen with the crowd going crazy for the man, and then him hugging his kids on the way out. He should be winning the G1, man. He's not gonna, but he should be.
He's probably not going to. He's got a lot of stuff, but yeah. Goto really pulling on the heartstrings this tournament.
And the fact this might be his last G1 sucks ass.
I love the idea. I also love the story of this being his last G1, and I think it's totally plausible that this is his last G1, and
probably is.
He's getting sort of that he's getting that sort of last G1 push, which and then that puts over Hanare at the end of it all. I think that's probably what's happening. But there's also the other scenario where this is Hiroki Goto's last G1, and he wins it, and so he wins his first G1 and his last G1. I just think there's a great little book
that would be art
that I would love.
That would be art. Shouts out to the man Hiroki Goto. Thank you for keeping New Japan alive.
Mm-hmm. The problem here, though, if we do the play-in tournaments next year, right?
Yeah.
How do you not have especially if Goto wins, obviously. But let's say Goto had such a run this one. How does he not automatically get in next
year? Yeah, they're gonna make it like it was easy with Ishii because Ishii doesn't win. Goto wins, baby.
Yeah, it's basically I think like Goto has to go on a losing streak for the rest of the year for that to make sense.
Yeah. The rest of the year and next year.
Yeah,
like it doesn't. The man's been awesome though. He's if there wasn't a Takeshita here, he legitimately might be the MVP.
I think that's fair. But even then, he probably wouldn't have the match of the tournament with his Takeshita match.
This is true.
Hanare, I think, has also been better than expected.
Oh, he's been worse
really?
For me. I think all of the problems I find with him have come out in this tournament.
What are those problems?
The overdoing the tough guy thing.
Oh, I like it. I've been enjoying
it. I think it's so bad and hokey. The Jeff Cobb ending, I was like, this is NXT. This is NXT.
I like that he ramped it up a little bit. I like him being more of that madman in the ring, and more.
That's a different gimmick. That's someone else's gimmick.
I like him being the more of a Matanza in the ring. No, that's someone else's gimmick. I like him being the Island Warrior. Let's say.
Sure.
I feel like that fits. Yeah, I like him just sort of being that sort of wild man in the ring. And I have
wild man. That's what you were looking for that whole time.
That was what it is. Exactly what I was looking for. I like that he vamped it up. Because that was one of my favorite parts about him in the steel cage match was him just sort of like going
being
crazy.
A psychotic human.
Exactly. And I've liked that he's sort of kept that in sort of his singles wrestling.
I liked his match with Uemura.
All right, that's good. That's good. That was really good.
Quite good. That was quite good.
ELP. Tough to say. He has been doing a story about him losing all the time, but has he been better or worse than expectations?
His first half of the tournament was like, get off my screen, bad. But the match with Takeshita was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
That Korakuen crowd, him just going full baby face for once and not, he wasn't being his story, like going into this tournament was terrible. I'm sorry. Yeah. All my friends hate me. Like, shut up, dude. Like, no one cares. I'm sorry. All your friends are in the bloodline. Like, I don't know what you want from us. We don't care. But that match with Takeshita was like, it was exactly what you had pointed out. Like, I'm circling this match. You just, you were right. Giving you credit, Ryan. Take it.
I'm right every once in a while on this show.
But I still think it is like a worse tournament because everything else was like forgettable.
Yeah,
I don't know how to feel.
For me, I think he's largely a push. I think like if I had to give
That's
it,
fair.
there'd be leaning worse. Maybe I think the story has been like interesting to me, but it's definitely has taken over his work rate. If we want to look at that specifically, because like you said, when it came to the Takeshita match, he basically dropped the story for that one match, and it was great. And again, to be fair, it's against Takeshita, but I think that definitely kind of there's an element, there's a theory that the storyline is sort of hindering what he is able to do in the ring in terms of his single stuff. That does give me hope that post G1 could be interesting for ELP. But I also think that this post G1 story for ELP has to be him joining some sort of faction.
Yeah.
And he is facing David Finlay. Is he a war dog guy? Going back heel to be a war dog? I don't know. Unless he's kicking out Jake Lee.
Make him heel again.
Unless he's kicking out Jake Lee. Other than that,
I'm gonna make him a babyface.
Who's feuding with the War Dogs right now? I guess still United Empire, right? I guess maybe. So does he join United Empire? Maybe. I don't know.
Crazy to me, United Empire still exists.
There's got to be some sort of storyline with him where he's joining a faction, unless he's the leader of Hantai and starting Hantai. I don't really know where he goes from here, but the fact that he's against Finlay, maybe there's going to be story resolution with him in terms of faction alignment, maybe. Unless it's the best of both worlds for you, where we get Honorary Tongan ELP against teaming up with Honorary Tongan Chase Owens. David Finlay as well. What are your expectations, better or worse, for David Finlay? I think better.
I think he's absolutely been better. I think
not too much better. I think
I'm a David Finlay fan.
Yeah, I think he changed up his moveset to be more power heavy, and I think it's worked tremendously.
It's stunning. How powerful this man is.
Him against Jeff Cobb, I was like, whoa.
He's done the Dominator so many times, and I'm like, hold on. You just had this in your bag, and you were acting like Jay White? What the hell were you doing that?
That is not. No, this is what he needs to be doing. He's finally found it, I think. He's
a lot like his dad, plus insane power. He's a brawler with power, and it's kind of really good. I think he's had some of my favorite matches in the tournament. Really liked this Takeshita match. Really liked this Goto match. I think he's just had strong performances all around. So I'd definitely say better.
Yeah, I think he's definitely been better than expectations. I mean, I'm excited about his post G1. I think he's been sort of underrated to pretty good opening year.
I was gonna say, you're secretly defending David Finlay since January 4th.
I know. And then I think in this G1, he has really put it all together in terms of his moveset. And I think I think he is now set up quite nicely to have a great end of the year for New Japan. And I hope people feel the same. Konosuke Takeshita, I mean, better than expectations. And my expectations were he is one of the top 5 wrestlers of the world. Top 3, really, actually.
He couldn't belong in a company more than the one that he doesn't work for.
He fits so much here in this company.
He feels like their ace. And he doesn't even work for them. And also watching him.
I feel bad for DDT because
I know. Watching him, I sit there, I'm like, man, this guy, and I'm sorry, Ryan, this is gonna hurt you a little, but this guy is what people talk up Suji as. In every way.
I do agree with that.
He has the aura. Mm-hmm. He has the ability. Every single match this guy has, you have to go out of your way to see. Like you just said, him versus Bolton Oleg rocked. That match is the most whatever.
It's an opener.
Should be fine to catch the win. And then it's like, oh my God, it's not even that at all. It's like, He has the top 2 matches of the tournament for me. Probably top 3, honestly. Like it's not fair. And I watch him, and I'm like, we're living in a week where everyone's complaining about the Lucha Bros leaving AEW and like blah 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 blah. I'm like, my complaint with AEW after this past week is if you don't book Takeshita as the man when he walks back in the door, I'm finished with you. Also, stop making him a heel. He's not a heel. I watch this guy. People love this guy. He's not a heel in New Japan. He's just Konosuke Takeshita, and it rules. And also, his theme music rocks here. Bring this one, not that. Actually, he got a new one finally, but I rest my case. This guy is a different man from where he works everywhere else, and it's insane to me.
He should beat Danielson for the title. If
Fuck yeah, he should.
Because if he's still heel, especially, I think that makes more sense as well.
He should beat everyone. Who's the TNT champion?
The TNT champion? Who is the TNT champion?
Oh no! Oh, it's Jack Perry. Okay, he shouldn't beat Jack Perry.
No,
who's the Continental Crown? Oh, Okada. He should beat Okada.
Now we're in business, baby.
A year ago, this man pinned Kenny Omega not once but twice.
In the course
it took a year. It took a year for us to get to like where he should be after that, and it's not in AEW.
Yeah. What's this
I'd
like?
have him win the Continental Classic.
Oh, 100%. Oh my god, he should beat the. Oh my god, he should win the Continental Classic and then beat Danielson at World's End.
I think the Continental Crown should be like the X Division title.
Oh no, because wait, hold on.
You get the stupid belt.
Yeah, you get a belt. You don't get a world title challenge.
We need to retire the belt and make it like the G1. Like you get a title shot.
Yes, I agree. But that's not what's gonna. Well, I'm trying to remember because it gets him. No, yeah, because the Continental Champion's not in the G1, right? Or no, he is.
The Continental, yeah, they're technically defending the title in the tournament.
Okay, the title isn't held in abeyance.
No.
Yeah, he should win
a challenge.
Belt. Danielson.
That belt should have as much use as
he should kill Danielson.
And he should end him.
He should
finish him.
You know, he should hit the Tiger Driver on Danielson.
Oh my
god. I think first 5 minutes, Tiger Driver.
First 5 minutes. And then he should hit one of those nasty forearms. And then he should hit Poison Rana him. And then he should brainbuster him through the ring.
Yeah. Oh my god. Brainbuster off the top rope to Takeshita. Oh yes.
Ryan just wants Bryan Danielson dead.
I'm trying to help out Bree and his daughter to get him back home. Yeah, Takeshita. It feels like the G1 unleashed Takeshita that AEW is reining in, and he really
what a sentence, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That AEW is reining in.
Mm-hmm.
They just got these guys and they don't use them.
Yeah.
But you know who they do use? They use MJF.
Ren Narita. Honestly, at times better, at times the same. So I'm going to lean better.
Yeah, better.
He there. It's same thing with like Kid and Evil. It's like sometimes they still do the gimmick. Sometimes they drop it and they're good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometime and early in this tournament, I thought he was pretty good. But then it just kind of came Ren Narita bullshit. Or House of Torture bullshit. Yoda Worse?
I didn't say anything yet.
No. I'm saying worse.
Oh, that tells you it all then.
Not extremely worse comparative to other people, but he's leaning worse. I expected way more out of Tsuji, and I'm not necessarily getting a lot out of Tsuji this tournament. It's sort of in terms of a similar to like a Shingo sort of thing, where it is just sort of like I expected more from this guy, and it's still being really good, but nothing great that I was hoping for.
Well, I can ask this because I'm not as high on him as you. When is there worry with Tsuji?
What do you mean?
Because it feels like every major opportunity we walk away saying, well, That should have been better.
This guy blows a lot of opportunities.
Like, think about it. Obviously, the New Japan Cup final was great because he faced Hiroki Goto. That's the way these things go now. If you're facing Hiroki Goto Takeshita, you're fine. But like, okay, Naito match flop. Yu More match earlier this year, the hair match flop.
AEW
This tournament,
global stage
AEW global stage, flop and a half
against 5 great wrestlers.
against 5 great wrestlers who had a great match around him.
Yeah.
G1, where you are saying worse.
I don't think a flop, but
No, but
but
worse than expectation.
exactly.
What is the worry point? A bad final? Is that one where it's like, all right, we might have to pack it up if he gets there?
That's fair. These are all fair points.
And I still don't know if he can wrestle past 15 minutes.
Then maybe he should beat Jeff Cobb and then challenge for the TV title and win it.
You're probably right. That probably is his best case scenario right now.
Yeah. Maybe that's
But
the move.
I think he's the favorite to win the G1 at this stage.
I'm a Tsuji fan and I'm not having him win the G1.
I think that says it all.
Jeff Cobb.
He's been good.
I think he's been push for
He's
me.
been Jeff Cobb.
Yeah. Cobb is he's not necessarily meat and potatoes per se. Like Ishii to me is meat and potatoes. But
Yeah.
Cobb is like, I don't know. Just a solid, he's a steak dinner, you know?
Yeah. You're never gonna be upset with what he does.
Mm-hmm.
I liked him in Oleg, but that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And
he did a lot of the same stuff,
yeah.
but I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
I know some people are a
Takeshita
little
was
tired
good.
of it.
Duh.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's been good. He just I feel the same about Jeff Cobb every year.
Yeah.
It's not a shot at Jeff Cobb. It's just it's good to have a guy like that that's like, okay, he's not gonna underwhelm, and he may not have like the best match. He's not gonna put on the best match of the tournament, but he's gonna be solid.
Agreed. I'm not putting the world title on him anytime soon, but I don't think he should be fired anytime soon. You know, that's sort of.
I definitely don't think he should be fired. Yes,
he's like dead middle, where he's like he's a great hand.
The spot he's in right now makes all the sense with that title and stuff. So
agreed. So yeah, that's the G1 advancement scenarios. Should be interesting. Like I said, Block A is crazy. Block B is also crazy. There are so many different scenarios that are going to be playing out to see how everything plays out. But yeah, the first night of action is tomorrow. And then the next night is on Wednesday. Then we have the semifinal stuff on Thursday and Saturday. And then next week before Ring Post Radio will be the finals of the G1 Climax, which I don't think they have sort of announced any other matches for that show yet. You know,
I'll tell you now, last year had none. So
last year had
nothing big. Nothing big. So
I was gonna say, I was like, what? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, they don't have anything announced yet, so we'll see what happens there. They don't have announced anything for the semifinal stuff, so we'll also see what happens there. But yeah, that is that. Real quickly, let's talk about the N1 and Stardom. You and I are both individually doing nightly, daily audio for Stardom and for Noah N1. Both of us had shows this morning, and I don't think either of us have watched them yet and done audio yet on it. But
so I haven't done audio, but I did watch it.
Oh, perfect.
It was on normal. It was 6 matches, so
perfect. Well, I'm covering the Noah N1 tournament. It's behind the paywall on patreon.com/countupod. We've been discussing all the matches, talking about the storylines, talking about the attendance, which has actually been really good this year. Not anything comparison to like all these other companies like New Japan, but year over year we're seeing like 35% growth year over year for them. So I think it's been pretty good attendance wise so far. And I gave you a recommendation for one match. Please tell me you watched it. It was night 2. Rohei Oiwa Kiyomiya. You haven't watched it yet, Scotty?
No.
I raved about this on the audio on patreon.com/counterpod. $5 tier, by the way. It.
You have that fucking logged in.
Hey, it's all about the plugs, baby.
It's impressive.
Hey, it's all about the plugs. That match, one of the best matches of the year, hands down. On par, if not better than Takeshita's top tier match in the G1. It's different, for sure. It's not a Takeshita match, but it's so great. The storytelling, these guys are also so incredibly young and still very new. Yeah. And they told great storytelling through simplicity, imaginative simplicity is what I would describe this story, this match. And then the finishing sequence was fantastic.
Oi was the guy, by the way.
Oiwa is the man.
Yeah, like I said it before this tournament. I said I haven't watched the match yet, but I've been very confident in that stance. Like him versus the four that are currently in New Japan. I don't think it's close, and he's the newest of them. You know, like he's still on
an excursion.
Yeah, and like I don't know, don't go back. Your forever rival is right here. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's like, who's a better forever rival? Kaito or the Field in New Japan? You know, it's like, I'll give you everyone over there. You can pick anyone you want. Or is it Kaito Kiyomiya? And based on the reactions I've had, this reaction here, your review of it, I feel pretty comfortable with that. I still haven't watched Yuma Anzai versus Rei Saito either.
Oh my god.
I'm very behind.
I give recommendations out.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. I've been trying to catch up on the G1, so I'm up to date for this.
Yeah.
And I kicked in the N1, and I was so. Let me tell you the wrestling habits of my life these days. Well, let's have a conversation, okay? So I try to watch matches while also like trying to do certain other things. I can focus very easily, but when it's a match that I hear that's highly raved about, like those two, I'm like, I need to lock the fuck in. Yeah. I need to know. Everyone leave me alone. I am watching these matches. So I haven't got to do that yet. Though, that being said, I will be watching the Saito match for sure this week because I want to be caught up before the Aoyagi one. Mm-hmm. The same goes for the N1. I was watching night 2 of the N1, and I stopped right before that.
Perfect. That's fine. That's totally fine. What do you think about? Do you have any quick thoughts on the N1 that you've seen so far?
It's not great. It's not bad, but it's
bad.
Not bad.
I think it's been
not bad. It's not bad. It's been
that night event will definitely bump it up for you. But...
Yeah. Well, I've only watched night 1 and some of night 2, so to be fair, I think I'm valid on my take.
Yep.
Kano versus Titus Alexander was good. I'm watching Titus Alexander, right? Mm-hmm. I'm saying to myself, man, I could name like 10 AEW guys that should be doing exactly this right now.
Yep. He
is doing everything right for a young guy. So good for him.
Part of the end wondering that I'm doing on patreon.com/pod $5 here is I try to get faster and faster every time for you. Part of what I'm doing is sort of like tracking that sort of idea of like people like Briggs, Heights, and Titus Alexander and how they are sort of like getting better. Like the first night with like Heights and Titus Alexander, I thought that match was crap. And then the second night, it's like, you know, Titus Alexander shows up with Kano, and it's like, this is the exact matches that he needs to be having. And I hope that like people like Tavon Heights having, because those two guys, I'm glad we got it out of the way, but they are not experienced enough to lead a match, let alone debut in Noah like this.
Right. Be doing against each other.
Yes. So like Kano, and I thought that one was great. Night 3, Dragonbane versus Luis Monte. You haven't seen that. You haven't seen that yet.
I saw Dragonbane almost kill himself and Luis Monte. I did see that clip. I was like,
yeah, that was great. That was great.
Yeah, I'm excited about I was excited about the Monte matches with the Luchadors. Obviously, one of them has now been taken away from me.
Mhm.
But that one looked good. I also think like with the N1 moving forward, it got hurt a lot today. With no more Wagner. So
Well, huh? I didn't hear this. I didn't
oh
hear
yeah,
this.
he's out of the tournament.
Oh, he had a.
I thought
I
he
had
got
no. I
hurt.
didn't hear that yet.
Yeah. Well, now you know. I mean, that's not a spoiler. They just announced it. Like it's not like he got taken out in a match and no, he's out. Him and Katoge now both out.
Yeah, Katoge, obviously we knew about, him replacing Go Shiozaki and then leaving for a neck injury. Not Team Noah falling apart at the seams, it appears. Wagner will be absent. Let's see. Will miss all matches due to a cervical spine injury.
I don't think he's gonna be a triple mania either then.
No. That sucks. That really sucks. I'll talk about that more on the end wondering, but that is really bad news. Not necessarily for the N1, but really for Wagner, more so than anything.
It was probably his last N1.
Yeah. Yeah. And that really puts a halt on like anything I think they might have done with Galeno Del Mal, No, not saying that he's not on the same level of Wagner, but realistically speaking.
Yeah. It sucked. The M1's in rough shape. The M1's going down the road of the 5-star Grand Prix all of a sudden from last year, where everyone just gets hurt. Except the problem for this is everyone's getting hurt like early. Like
We'll talk about it.
Tournament just started, and the 5-star this year, everyone's healthy, but last year was like, everyone got hurt at the end.
Mm-hmm.
M1 just lost 2 people.
Technically 3.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I guess you gotta include Go.
Mm-hmm.
Losing Go and Wagner.
Yeah,
that's 2 of my favorites in the damn company.
Yeah.
How's my last question for you? Who do you think's winning? We never previewed it, so
yeah. Who do I think is winning? Let me pull up my stuff here. Who do I think is winning? I don't know. I think there's a really good shot that Jack Morris could win. I like the idea of a Jack Morris win. I think it also makes sense of Kaito Kiyomiya. Maybe I'm biased towards Jack Morris in that sense, but I think that there's obviously a history between the two. He's doing well so far. Oiwa, I can maybe also see winning, but that could really set up a really great title challenge down the line that would go past 30 minutes, obviously. So I think that would be really great. But currently, as of not today, I haven't watched today's matches, but as of night 3, he's at the bottom of Kaito Kiyomiya. So he has a long way to go to get that far. Block B, I think Kano might be in the finals. I don't think he's going to win it back-to-back years. I mean, Kano's been really great so far, but I don't necessarily think he's winning back-to-back years. Other than that, I don't give a Yoshi Ikinamura. Do not care about this guy. Don't care about him whatsoever. He could win it, but I don't give a shit.
Wow. How the turntables.
He's largely boring. He's back.
Wow.
Yeah. My thing with Inamura that I've noticed.
I did see his look, and I was like, man, why did you do this? Why did you go away from the Yoichi look?
The thing I've talked about a lot about him is that he has such a boring opening stretch, and he has a great closing stretch. And the Wagner match really showcased a great closing stretch. And it's like, if we can just find a way to just harness that last half, maybe it's a tag partner, maybe it's like 10-minute, 15-minute time limits on his matches or something, working, shorter. Maybe if we just bottle up this closing stretch of this guy, then we can get something here. But his opening stuff is not too good. Other than that, I mean, Wagner was a possibility, but obviously not anymore. I don't know. I think it's really like Block B. Kano is probably winning out of it, and then he's challenging even then, it doesn't make any sense because he's not going to challenge quote unquote Kaito Kiyomiya anymore. So I think it's probably going to come down to like Kano, Inamura, and then maybe like Jack Morris, Oiwa. I would maybe do Oiwa over Morris then, and then do Kano, and then that could be nice. Oiwa beats Kano, then challenges Kaito Kiyomiya again, and that should be a hell of a match down the line.
That'd be great.
That could be ideal. But, do you want Oiwa to win the N1? Do you want the New Japan guy to win your tournament?
I want him to win? Yes.
I think that's fair. I want him to win too. I think it'd be great. But you can do a similar idea with Jack Morris, I guess. I think it's less not as good as the Oiwa, but I think you can do a similar idea with him. So that's my preview, I guess. But we'll get more of those in-depth reviews. Again, patreon.com/pod. Scotty, let's talk about Stardom 5-Star. You've seen the first 2 nights. How are those going so far?
It's going well. I don't think the first night was as strong as it typically is. I think 12 matches is a lot. I'm like you said, I'm covering every single day on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ScottEWrestling. Very simple. So I did night 1's up now. I'll have night 2 up probably right after this. It's not that one's gonna be a lot shorter. It was 6 matches and it was kind of a dire show. Crowd was bad. 4 hate matches in a row. Wanted to kill myself. It was really bad. I was like, oh my god, this is so bad. There was one great match though, so we walk away from that.
From night 2.
Yeah, it was Mayu and Saida main evented, so that was great. Saida chopped the hell out of Mayu. It was kind of nasty, but they had a great match. Night 1, it was Mayu and Tam in the main event. The match I expected to be the best, the match that was the best. Shuri and Starlight Kid was really good. Tomoka Inaba and Mei Sarah was really good. And Momo versus Azumi was really good. I think it's, I will say this. One, Micah looks like Utami now. Which is really funny. I was like, oh my god, they legitimately like made her be Utami. That's not like in the Sayaka Tani story she is, but that now she like looks like her, which is funny. Her and Natsupoi was a letdown. Hana and Suzuki was a letdown. It was a mixed bag opening night. You had the highs, but you had lows that I'm upset about. I think the Suzu Hana match was a highlight of like those two. I think we're going to be a lot bigger this year had things gone differently in the world of Stardom. And now they're kind of like, I don't know. It's high. The match ended in a double countout. I wanted to cry. I was like, they booked this to be a double countout. This was the best match of this block on paper. Oh, and Sayaka Tani as a heel, not good. Yet.
I am not the Golden Phoenix.
so I have to be fair, okay? And I said this on my review, youtube.com/@ScottyWrestling. See, I can do it too. I said this on the review. It's gonna take time.
Sure.
You are turning an ultra baby face into a heel.
This tournament is gonna be her figure.
Yeah. But the match with Risa Sarah was the worst match of night 1. Comfortably. Anna Jay wrestled. Okay, guys. And Anna Jay versus
how's Anna Jay?
She did good. She did better than I expected. It was 5 minutes, so didn't overstay its welcome by any means. But she hit her moves. Sayori dropped her on her head a few times, and then she won, which I expected. So good start for Anna Jay. Baby steps here. Which is good. You know, I think with Anna Jay, it's like it can be a mixed bag for her, right? I think people want her to come back like Mariah May did, sure. And like it's not gonna happen because she's not gonna be there for 8 months. She's gonna be there for 21 days. I think she would come back really good if they gave her another 2 after this. I do. Because I
Another
think
2 tours or another 2 matches?
months.
Okay.
So do the whole 3-month tour,
Mhm.
like the full, the usual shebang. But there's hope, which is nice. There's hope. I am looking at Anna Jay in a way of, okay, this is someone that's here to get better. Will she get better?
My Tavion Heights Tyus
Yes.
Alexander. Yeah.
Yes. I think that's the best way to look at it. She hasn't had her second match yet. Her next match is against Starlight Kid. I could see that
Real proving ground.
I could see that be a problem for her.
Mhm.
Like I could see her get lost because Kid's a lot faster than Asaori, but we'll see. She is wrestling Shuri at Cork and Hall. There's no proving ground bigger than that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but yeah, you can check that out. I will have the review up. The first one was 40 minutes. The second one's gonna be like 10.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think all my reviews have been like 45 to an hour.
Well, you're having full shows. Like I had
okay.
6. I am having 6 matches where the time limit's 15 minutes.
Am I having any full shows moving forward? By the way, now I don't
Technically,
know.
no.
Next show is tomorrow. I think Wagner had a main event match. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, Wagner's match. Yeah, I'm gonna start having like shows that are just 5 matches. Like it was like the first night was eight matches, then it was 7, and then I think it was 5, and then I think today was 6 or something, and now that's 5. It's just gonna be. It's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be a mess for sure.
Your match of the year is today.
Was today.
MJF versus Michael Oku.
Oh yeah, that is today. Anyways, well that's good.
It's gonna be on my feed for the next month. So
it's opening stuff for Stardom. So I think it's one thing. I mean, it's the first 5-star of the new regime. So I think that's also going to be a big thing to watch, a big story to watch.
Oh, I forgot the other thing I meant to say. This is the first time I've watched Stardom. Like, wow, they're really missing Utami. Like
they have a replacement.
I know. Well, that's where I was going, and then the Micah thing popped in my head, and I was like, hold on. But like in all seriousness, it's like her presence is very much missed in the 5-star and just like the natural star power. And I'm watching these shows, I'm like, if Mayu leaves, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, when I say we, I mean Stardom.
Or if Hanan or Suzuki, maybe if they want to wait out their contracts.
If they leave, then thank God.
Yeah.
Based off that first night. That first night pissed me off for them. For just those two. Like I liked the show. But those two, I was like, Susie, you were supposed to be champion already. Twice.
Jeff Bugenhagen in the chat as well puts Julia's presence is also missed.
Yes, very much. To be fair, I'm getting used to just no Julia at all now. So like I don't bring her up because mentally, she's arrived, Dearchi.
She's a lame duck wrestler, I guess.
Yeah, like she's leaving and she's been leaving for a year pretty much now. So it's like, all right. But yeah, no, you're right, Jeff.
They announced her final show.
Yep, the 19th.
Julia's last arrived Dearchi.
Yes. Wonder how it does. She's fighting Mai Sakurai, which is kind of the person she's been connected to for a long time now. Risa Nakajima is going to wrestle one of her last matches on there too, so that's cool. Because then I said, I want to wrestle you, and they were like, all right. Okay. I like the idea where all these legends are leaving. Like Mako said, oh yeah, if someone calls me out, I'll just show up. I was like, it's an interesting method that like we have on these retirement tours. All of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, if you want to face me, I'll be there.
Yeah,
sounds good. All right, cool. Just gonna start calling out everyone. Like every wrestler should just start calling out like these legends. Be like, I feel like Mako's gonna like do way too many things.
I think that's my indie gimmick is I'm gonna debut and then say I'm gonna start my retirement tour, and then every match is gonna be part of my retirement tour.
That's great. That's great. You're the retiring Ryan Knightsey.
And that anyone can steal my gimmick. Anyone can steal that gimmick. Is that my entire career is me on my retirement tour.
How many wrestlers have had retirement tours and have just come back? 1 million?
Oh, a lot. I mean, Terry Funk famously had like 6 or 7. Like,
Shout out to the Funk man.
Ric Flair, I think, has had 2.
I don't know if you remember his promo, but he said, "I will never retire."
I guess I think I actually had 3 now I think about it.
He still isn't retired as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well, real quickly, All Japan also has a show this weekend. Same day as Triple Mania. So maybe we talk about Triple. No, they don't have a full card. Okay, moving on. All Japan has a show.
They just lost Wagner too.
They lost Wagner, so one less person announced for that show. That was one of the best matches on that show, if I recall. It was going to be him and Galeno Damal or something, right?
Yeah, I think and Dr. Wagner.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, that show sucks. Triple Mania.
Sorry. The match was. Never mind. This is terrible. It was Diego Cassis and Psycho Clown defending the Triple AW. Triple AW. What the fuck am I saying? Triple A World Tag Team titles against. El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. isn't on the show.
Oh,
they changed it. They ended up changing it again.
Dr. Wagner Jr.
So now it's Dr. Wagner Jr. and Galeno Damal versus Jinder Mahal and Satnam Singh.
I don't think that's the worst match on the show. Arguably, Scotty, that's the best match on the show.
They also have Commander versus Laredo Kid versus Matt Riddle.
That has potential to be good. I think that's fair.
This show stinks.
Nick Nemeth versus Alberto El Patron.
God, someone said that Nick Nemeth isn't showing up to that? Is that true?
I haven't heard that.
That'd be awesome. That'd be so sick.
I'll check Lucha Blog. Maybe he tweeted something about it. All Japan has a show this Saturday.
There's a casket match?
Yeah. It's part of Vampiro's retirement tour.
Okay, he's actually had 7.
Oh, Vampiro, the great Vampiro.
Does Triple A do numbers, like attendance wise?
I don't think so. I don't think so anymore, for certain. They used to do, like, when they first started, they would do like tens of thousands of people. Like the first Triple Mania was like tens of thousands of people, and like I don't think there's like a true attendance for it or something, because it's like there was tens of thousands of people in the arena, but there were so many people that wanted to see it that they set up a TV or something outside the arena and had people sit in the parking lot and watch it. It was so many people that watched the first one, and now no one wants to discuss Triple Mania. So
it's incredible, honestly, how like 4 years ago, is it even 4? Like 3 years ago, AAA was the big hot lucha place and had all this fun matches and great wrestlers, and Kenny Omega held their title, and now it's like get out of my sight type thing. While CMLL, that's the real.
Look,
CMLL gets it.
Look, I mean, what goes around comes around. To quote the great, quote the great Conan, what goes around comes around. Other real quick news before All Japan. Tony Khan announced, I saw yesterday, Ring of Honor World Title match: Mark Briscoe versus the Beast Mortos. That's in Ring of Honor TV taping, so I assume on this Thursday will probably be when that match airs. Because the TV taping is the TV taping today, and that
I saw yesterday they did some Ring of Honor tapings before or after Collision.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Mina Shirakawa is doing.
It's a talent exchange. It's a talent exchange.
Just go away, man.
They
Like,
did the same.
don't-
It's to catch the Ishii, Anna Jay, Mina
man,
Shirakawa.
just don't come back.
Maybe she's the one that beats Athena.
That would be kind of funny.
You can set up that match. That's a match.
It'll be Billy Starks, but they could do the title match. They feel whatever. Who gives a shit?
All Japan has a show this Saturday, 8/17.
You're a big All Japan guy.
I have been enjoying All
I
Japan.
feel like I talked you into it, and then I
haven't
left.
looked back. And then you left and were like, I'm out, and I'm still into it. All Japan's been having a good show on Saturday. They have a Gaora TV title match. As the first match, Fuminori Abe defending his title against Seiko Tachibana, the guy he won the title from. I'm bringing it up because the last match was surprisingly really good. So I have way higher expectations for this match because Seiko Tachibana has been doing pretty well, and Fuminori Abe, he's Fuminori Abe, so he's good. Then they have some other matches that I think no one really gives a crap about. They have a all-Asian tag team match, Musashi and Seki Yoshioka versus Dan Tamura and Ryo Inoue. So Musashi I've been enjoying, so I think that I'm not a huge Dan Tamura guy, so I think that could be good, but we'll see. We have a All Japan versus Hokuto Army special that I know you're dying to see, Scotty. And that is, of course, Hokuto Omori and Cyrus against Kento Miyahara and Davey Boy Smith Jr. That's the fifth match. Sixth match, World Tag Team title match. All Japan World Tag Team title match. The Saito brothers defending their titles against Suwama and Hideki Suzuki.
Didn't we?
We already did this as a challenge, so I think this could be...
This one, well, hold on. Hold. No. Hold.
Holding.
Hold.
I think
No, this one,
I think this was a challenge, and then one of the Saitos got injured, and then they delayed the match or something.
this is what happened. Oh. Yeah, so this is what happened. Okay. So what was scheduled was the Saitos versus Kento and Yuma Aoyagi.
Yes.
One of the Saitos got hurt, so the titles got vacated.
Yes.
Suwama and Hideki won the belts and then lost them to the Saitos.
Yes.
So we're just doing it again.
We'll have a lot of tag teams in here.
We don't have a lot of tag teams. Yuma Anzai's about to be done with the entire circuit of contenders. Yeah. It's always Charlie Dempsey. I'm so sorry. Continue.
No quarter catch crew. Oh my god. No quarter catch crew.
Actually, they've moved on. They've moved on to bigger things called Noah.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Isn't Tavion Heights part of that group?
Yes, he is.
Oh, see, I know my NXT. We are NXT.
Scotty XT over here. Main event of this show, by the way, is another Triple Count heavyweight title match. Many people sort of think that this is going to be a loss for him. Yuma Anzai versus Yuma Aoyagi. The Battle of the Yumas. There's a bear outside your door. Yeah, there's a bear outside your window, apparently.
I'm scared. This is gonna be great.
Yeah, I have high expectations, and a lot of people are thinking this could be if Aoyagi doesn't win here, then I believe the idea is that Anzai basically run the gamut of beating everybody on the roster. So
I think Kento has a title match. Like I think he's technically the next title match.
Correct.
So if he ain't losing to Yuma Aoyagi, I know who he's losing to because
the first guy he beat in his defense. The first defense I think was
Kento, which was a great match. Anzai rules. I mean, I haven't seen his last two defenses yet, but I do appreciate his greatness. I do appreciate who he is as a wrestler. You know what's crazy?
What's that?
They just ran Yuma Anzai versus Kaito Kiyomiya earlier this year before both won the belt. No one talks about it. That one, the match was great. Two, they're kind of leading Japanese wrestling right now. Them and New Japan ace Konosuke Takeshita. and the young upstart Hiroki Goto. Yeah, I just think like I hope Anzai wins, by the way.
There's a wave of new fresh faces that I think people want. Like, Noah with Kaito as champion, and he didn't wrestle on night 3, but he's still having good attendance in terms of Noah's been up attendance wise. All Japan, Yuma Ansai has been a nice little attendance booster. Obviously, a lot more Triple Crown title matches, and that certainly helps. Takeshita, I think it's been a lot of good fresh faces.
Insane amount of Triple Crown title matches. I feel like there's 2 a month at this stage.
Yeah, they've been upping them up for whatever reason. I think maybe they think that's what they need to do to draw, and that certainly helps. But
maybe Katsuhiko Nakajima is next. I'm just kidding. He's gone. The boy is gone.
Come back from Glate. Is he still in Glate? Has he not? Has he left yet?
Don't know, man. I don't know if Glade even runs anymore.
Has he moved on to Tenru Project or whatever that is?
I was having a conversation with friends last night, and I decided that the Glate should bring back the 6-sided ring.
Now we're talking.
It just fits the shit of that promotion.
Oh yeah, that's probably accurate. That's probably true.
And shout out to the 6-sided ring, the way wrestling was supposed to be.
That is it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio.
Triple A's got it though, so
yeah, Triple Mania, more like six Mania. Say
Mania.
Say Mania. Say your money. Right.
All right, goodbye, everybody.
Get me out of this spot. Scotty, things to plug, matches of the week.
Like I said, you can check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ScottEWrestling for daily 5-star Grand Prix reviews, because I'm crazy like that. So we'll have one today. We'll have another one tomorrow. And then we get a little break, thank God. But I'll have every single day up. I think there's 11 days in total of shows, 12 shows total. So I will have one up every single day. The only day that I might take a while to get one up is the final day, because I will not be watching any wrestling that day. I will be stuck, which is why Ring Post Radio is going to be nights the next day, because I have to watch everything within a very short span.
You gotta watch Bash in Berlin, Stardom. Are you gonna be able to watch stuff on Friday?
Yeah, I'll be available on Friday for the most part.
Yeah. So Friday you're watching New Japan Capital Collision and maybe TNA Emergence, maybe not, probably not. But then TNA. Bash in Berlin.
What is this TNA you speak of?
TNA Emergence, the next pay-per-view coming down the pike for Emergence. You're get into it, I know, right? You're excited?
No. My match of the week.
It's on TNA Plus.
That was my main plug, so I'm going to keep it there. My match of the week. I watched a lot of matches this week. We talked about a lot of the G1 matches. It's kind of tough for me to, and I talked about the 5-star matches, so that's great. I will simply just say
God, he turned into dust.
Yep. We said everything already.
Mm-hmm.
Like I talked about all the wrestling I watched this week. So like, oh my God, this is terrible. End the show. End the show now.
My plug is that again, I'm doing the End Wondering on patreon.com/countoutpod on the $5 tier. First episode was available on all tiers, 3 or 5. So you can check out the first one if you just want to dip your toe in and check out the first episode, first night of the End Wondering, get my initial thoughts of the tournament. But yeah, we have a lot of the tour already. I mean, night 4 obviously is today. There'll be an episode out later today. Night 5 will also be out tomorrow. And then we got a big long break until Saturday. So you can literally pop on to the $5 tier this week. You can even do the $7-day free trial on the $5 tier. You can sign up right now for that 7-day free trial. You'll be able to get for 7 days, you'll be able to get you can listen to night 1 through 7, a night a day with that free trial. And yeah, you'll be able to do all that stuff. So you can sign up for the $5 tier, get all those matches in the 7-day free trial, and then stay around. If you like what you hear, but we have more content all the time on patreon.com/countoutpod. My last day of work, Scotty, was on Friday, so I'm free to do more content. So that's I'll be locked in doing a bunch more stuff on the Patreon. I got a bunch of stuff planned already. So there'll be more stuff. So hey, look, if you want to join on, I think now's a good time as any to get on patreon.com/countoutpod. My match of the week was the main event of Dynamite, Bryan Danielson versus Jeff Jarrett. I thought the match was great. It was a walk-in brawl, and a lot of people don't really like walk-in brawls and everything, but I think Bryan Danielson's really good at wrestling, and Jeff Jarrett is really good at wrestling when it comes to brawls, unless it's against Jeff Hardy and whatever that was. I think it was Jeff Hardy, whatever that one match was. But I thought I really liked the Anything Goes match. I thought it was fun. I had a good time watching it. So take that, old people that don't care about wrestling anymore. Anyways, or people that there are like some people out there that I listen to that are like becoming old, and now their takes are becoming like the typical old man take. And I'm enjoying the process as it's happening, and I can't wait for us, Scotty, in 5 years to start becoming those people.
Yeah, I can't wait either. I got my match of the week.
Oh, perfect.
I watched John Cena versus Umaga from Royal Rumble
2007. Oh, oh my God. What was the impetus to watching that one? Was it just because?
Passing time.
Perfect.
Waiting for the 5-star. Just threw it on. It's a great time.
That reminds me of a Patreon series I might need your help with that I just remembered. But
the Umaga retrospect?
Yeah, of course, the Umaga retrospective.
Oh, by the way, Umaga rocked.
Yeah.
Sokoa sucks. And that, folks, is how you do it.
That is it for this week's episode of Ring Posted Radio. We'll be back next week for a shit ton of stuff to talk about. Oh my God, there's so much stuff to talk about. More, the G1 Climax finals, more Noah and Stardom updates, all Japan possibly. Maybe Triple Mania is the greatest show on earth, and we'll talk about it. We'll be previewing Rev Pro's 12-year anniversary show, previewing All In London next week. We got a lot of stuff to talk about next week, so strap in for sure. Get into it, folks. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow the podcast wherever you get podcasts. Until next week, we'll be back then. Goodbye, everybody.